Thank you. Anyway, I just had to do that. The electricity, the electricity flickered
Oh
in my
my God.
office for a second.
Sometimes it happens. Yeah.
So I was like, well, at very least, I have to save what we did. So at least if it cuts off completely, at least we have that. Because that was, by the way, I got to compliment you. You have completely delivered. I just got to say, I knew you would hit this out of the park. I knew this would be just a stunning conversation. I was so right. Um, but when blind people travel, I would say that I'm not affected more by what I hear, and here's what I mean. Oftentimes, when I was a little boy, people would tell me, "Oh, Aaron, well, you're blind, so you hear better." No, that's not true. If you're
Yes, you're
blind,
right. Mm.
perhaps you're more aware of what you're hearing, but you don't automatically hear better.
No,
I
you're
do,
right.
I
Yeah.
do agree with you in overarching argument that yes, you're mostly correct. That if you're going to create something for blind people, yes, audio drama is the way to go. But you'd be surprised. Audio drama can give a lot of peace, a lot of happiness to anyone really who strives to be impacted by the theater of the mind. You know, we're living in this turbulent, society now where both of us are blessed to be bilingual people living in relatively stable countries with relatively I mean, if you think about it intellectually, our governments and our countries are only 95% destroyed, not 100% destroyed, like most of the other countries. So, quite frankly, we have a lot going, But I will say that the overarching argument is, yes, you're right, that blind people may in fact be more impacted by audio, but blind people would travel the same way anyone else would travel. It's just we happen to be blind, and that's the slight distinction. But you're so right. I'll send you as we get to know each other better. I'll send you my podcast that I recorded with a company called Story More Audio Dramas, and then I will actually send you their podcast that they produce. And they produce incredible professional dramas all through audio, to which you would truly have inspiration. And maybe, in fact, you can get in touch with them at some point and maybe do some Italian voiceover for them. That would be incredible. Although I don't know them well, but that's what I can. So how now? So I've noticed by watching the videos that the AI software that you use always is, at least for me, in English. So how does that work? How do you write these stories and how do you set up the videos exactly?
Well, it's actually it's pretty hard work, but I really enjoy doing it because um, basically it's like to giving life to a little world. So I write the story first, then I uh, edit. I mean, I choose the voices of the characters using this website based on AI that is called 11 Lab. So every single person can use it and can experience it. Then I put some sound effects based on what characters do in the story during any single episode, and then it's great when your work ends because you really see your creature coming up and you say, oh wow, it's great. And and then I upload on YouTube and the episode is done.
Cool.
Actually, I
So,
propose
so exactly though, how do you tell 11 Labs, like, how do you write the dialogue and how do you tell the AI what to say? And then how does that AI get into the video? Like, how is it engineered?
okay, this website includes many voices, and you can choose the voices you prefer. So you put the text. There is a kind of box where you can write the text or copy the text. You need the voice to play. The voice plays this text. Then you download this. If you like it, if you don't like, the voice can repeat it until you like it, and then you download it and and then the piece is done. I mean, this part is done. So it's a very, I mean, it takes some time and some patience, but it's great. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's really
Then I use
incredible.
another program to edit it because I have, of course, you have to join the voices and sound effects. So you
Mm-hmm.
need to use another program
Mm-hmm.
to edit
Mm.
them.
Do you think, and I'm just asking this question because I know that there are people who need this done around the Aaron's Opinion family. So, Emmy, if someone comes to you and says, so, Emmy, do you think you could help us with our drama that we're working on? Because I know a ton of people who would really like your help with this, who are working on dramas themselves. Do you think you'd be willing to network with other people and kind of help them out to put together some of their content? Because they would really like this. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm available to give suggestions, to discuss about it, to share ideas, opinions, and whatever. So, if anybody wants to contact me, I will be very, very happy to help.
Oh, that's so wonderful. That's so wonderful. So you're putting these up on your YouTube channel, and we'll link it in the description for you at home there. But so
Thank you.
you're putting it up on the channel. Now, are you planning on turning those into some sort of audiobook for yourself that you create? Like what's your goal? Or is it just simply just for the love of it and just basically just for fun? Like what's the end goal there? Yeah. Mhm.
Well, actually, I prefer being a little bit a ghost. I mean, I would like appear with my voice, and I really prefer to be a ghost in my stories. Because of that, I chose to use AI and different voices. So I don't know if I will do it. Probably yes. Why not? I mean, I'm very curious of embarking in different adventures. So why not? One day, maybe. Who knows?
Right, right. Absolutely. That's really fascinating stuff. Yeah. Well, good, good. Well, we'll definitely include that link in the description. I have to go over later today. I have to look to make sure I have your description. I forget if you sent it or not. I want to think that you did, but I forget if you sent it. So please don't send anything. Please don't send it again if you know you sent it. Let me find it. And if I can't find it, I'll ask you to resend it.
Okay,
But
great. I don't
I
know
think
if.
in fact. I think you did send me the description that you want me to include. I just need to link it up and need to edit this. But this is truly spectacular. So we have a few minutes left, and I'm sure that after speaking to me the few times we spoke, and now that you will learn more about my podcast family here around the world at Aaron's Opinion, I'm sure you have a lot of questions for me. So what do you really want to know about me, Aaron Richmond, and Aaron's Opinion?
Well, everything.
Well,
It's-
what
No,
specifically, right?
no. You are free to tell me.
Well,
Well,
what I
I'm
mean
very
by,
curious.
well, what I mean by that is oftentimes people would want to ask me one question to really make me sweat to get under my skin to see if I'm worth my
Okay,
salt as a podcaster. So what do you
yeah.
really want to know? Yeah. Hmm.
Um, um, why did you start your podcast, and um, when did you start it? And yes, you talked to me about my motivation to get my degree. So
Right.
what was your first, I mean, the first motivation that pushed you to get out from, I thought that you were not known at that time. I don't know when you started with your podcast, but I thought that you were not famous. I mean, not known at all. So what um, what did push you to appear on YouTube, to start this YouTube podcast, if I
Sure.
can ask?
Well, you can because you asked it. And so let me clarify something that's very important. Your first thing, I'm not famous. Second, I'm not
Well,
important.
known. I said known. I mean, I
Well, and
probably.
I'm relatively the magic, which will lead into something else, is the magic is that the conversation we're having at this moment is a relatively unknown gift. The magic behind all this is that someday in the future, people will discover this over a period of time of many years of doing it. So now I'm not famous. I'm not important, relatively so, but I continue to do what I do because I love doing it and because it's something that is helpful to me and moreover is helpful to the community of blind people, of successful blind people. And I've noticed that I have been attracting more of the right attention and more of the right blind people to be downloading the content. So I notice that numbers keep going up, which means that I'm doing the right thing and that this is what people want over a period of time. And don't forget, by the way, Emmy, please push download when you listen to this episode so that we can hopefully give Italy a shout when we do a shout out for the top 3 countries. Because I can tell what countries push download and which don't. So anyway,
Okay.
in 2020, so this has been going on. A version of Aaron's opinion has been in existence in 2020 when the pandemic was at an all-time
Mm.
high. It was
Yeah.
at the end of my guide dog's life. It was at the time when I was very, obviously, like we all were, very unhappy and very confused and very stressed out. And so I was teaching online even back then. And I was spending an enormous amount of time listening to podcasts around the blindness space. And I noticed one thing, which is that there's a lot of podcasts for blind people,
Mm.
but in my opinion, they were not receptive to my opinions. They were not willing to have open-ended conversations. They were not able to have conversations with me about what I want to talk about. And in case you haven't noticed, I won't shut up. I love to give out my opinion, whether you love it or not. So, so I created this. So I really wanted to create a space where blind people and sighted people too, sighted people have been on the show, where really anyone can come up to the microphone and talk about what's important to them. And I've come to understand that giving someone the privilege to speak about their life and to speak about what's going on in their heart and around the universe, that's a gift for them because people want to be heard and deserve to be heard. So in other words, it's called Aaron's opinion only because Aaron is giving you the chance to share your opinion. So that's simply the magic behind that, I think, is why it's growing and what it is because we just simply try to do the right thing and try to help those who we can help. We've not helped, we've not been able to help every guest, and certainly some guests have been, should we say, are not part of the show anymore. That happens every once in a while. You get a guest that you can't work with and things like that, or there's a misunderstanding. That's
Mm.
happened too. But what's overwhelmingly obvious is numbers gradually grow and the size of the audience grows over time. And this is apparently what you need and what people need. So that's the why. And we have listeners from all the countries, really all over the world. I think that's important for you as you build up your YouTube to understand your audience and to realize what parts of the world are actually pushing download on those too. That's always very important. But that's kind of the roots of all this, and that's why I do what I do. And if I'm not doing that, I'm teaching. And if I'm not teaching or doing this, I'm listening to another podcast. So this is basically how I maintain my sanity and professionalism and how I maintain me.
Yeah, even if basically, I mean, in my opinion, they are, I mean, both are connected because when you teach, you help your students to achieve a goal. I mean, to be good at French or, I mean, good at English or whatever. And here you are helping people to have visibility, to be recognized. I mean, you help people to tell their skills and to be recognized as persons with those skills. So, and actually, you encourage other people, the listeners, to not to do the same and not to be the same, but to do something, to improve, basically to improve themselves. And this is what connects both activities. I mean, improving ourselves. This is important, and this is something that, in my opinion, we should do day by day until, personally, I think until the end. I hope never give up learning because when I will give up, probably the end uh, is pretty close.
Right. You're very wise and very right that we should at least we should always try. to
Oh
keep
yeah,
learning and
sure.
keep doing these things until we cannot. And that's it's a very accurate thing. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're very right. You're very right. Do you want to talk a little bit more about the province in Italy where you're from? Exactly what part of the country you're from? Maybe some distinguishing features of your province in Italy where you grew up?
Well, I was born and raised on the coast in front of Croatia coast. Basically, it was, no, sorry. It is. My hometown is a pretty nice seashore, I would say. Very nice to go to have holidays, but with few job opportunities to offer. So um, I moved from there at the age of 18 at first to go to university, and then I go back sometime, actually now more often than ever. But um, I mean, I think it was a good environment to grow up. Actually, I had a very big family, I would say. My family was not prepared for a blind person because I'm the first blind in my family. And there was, there have been no disease, no genetic problems. So it was a kind of accident that happened. So I was the first one. My parents were very young, but they had the support of all the family. And because all the family wanted to support them and they wanted basically to fill this gap that I had, I was very lucky and I could have any kind of experience. I mean, um, I remember that I used to go camping with some uncles. I used to travel around all over the world with my with another couple of uncles. I used to stay with my parents in my little apartment in front of the sea. So you know, a variety of experiences that then contributed to basically to make of me the crazy and wild woman that is in front of you right now. So this is what I can say.
Yeah, so good, so good. All right, all right. Well, we're sort of walking towards the end of the conversation. So if you want to ask me one more question, what do you really want to ask? One more question today.
Okay. I don't know if I can ask, but
You
basically,
can, well,
think
it's an
so.
explicit podcast marked for adults. So at this point, you can ask whatever you please.
Okay. I wouldn't like the names. I mean, and I wouldn't like, if you can, I mean, go into the surface. Don't go very, don't be very detailed. But what was the most weird experience you had doing this podcast? I don't want to. I would like you to talk about a specific guest you
Yeah,
had,
I
or
mean, we've covered it all. As you learn more, as you go through more and more and more of my content over time, and that's the intention is not, I don't expect or ask you to instantly be familiar with the hundreds of episodes we've already put together because that's impossible. What I hope is that over the years, you'll slowly but surely download more of them and slowly go through them over years of going through it. That's what knowledge is. Knowledge is not an instantaneous thing. Knowledge
hmm,
is a perpetual thing that perpetuates over years of doing the right thing. But we've covered it. I mean, spoken to people who were recovered drug addicts. I've spoken to people who were sexually abused. I've spoken to people who were. I mean, I've got you covered at some place, somewhere, somehow, some way. I've completely got you covered. We've had it all. We've had it all here at Aaron's Opinion. The everything. Everybody from almost every walk of life has had some influence, from technical people to philosophical to people. We've had a rabbi. I'm a Jewish guy, by the way, so we've had a rabbi on here once. We've had I've interviewed everybody. I've interviewed other people who are more religious. I've interviewed people who
Hmm.
are not religious. You just kind of, the way I can tell you is you just kind of have to just go through the episodes over a lot of time of doing it, and kind of go from there and see what see what quenches your thirst, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
If
And
someone, yes,
was there
one more question.
any story that really upset you and put yourself in discussion as a person, or and then how could you go on with the episode when this story
Yeah.
ma-
Like you're asking, have I ever been like, or I guess if you're, I guess, are you asking if I have ever been recording with someone and they say something so bad that I have to like take a deep breath or like pause for a second and
no,
like,
no, 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 but if
well, maybe you aren't getting
something,
it across. Yeah.
yeah, no, no, but if something really upset you in the sense that uh I don't know, made you feel emotionally
hmm
involved or whatever. And so I'm
Yeah, I mean,
wondering how you could go
I think
on.
I think to some extent, I think the fact that I'm doing this shows that I do feel some, intellectually speaking, I do feel some level of emotional responsibility, meaning
Hmm.
that it's
Yeah,
not only my responsibility to help you to share your story, Emmy, but it's kind of my responsibility for other people to make this
sure.
content for other people. In other words, this is part of my
Sure,
civic and social
sure.
responsibility to some extent of the imagination. We've had a lot of hard conversations on Aaron's opinion. I would say, to really, I would say, to truly understand that, I think what would help you is to actually look through the episodes. But one thing you could do, considering that you're a YouTuber, is you can go to the YouTube channel for Aaron's opinion and sort the
Sure.
videos by popular. You have most recent and then you have popular. And I think if you watch them in the order of popularity, meaning in the order of the most popular to least popular, I think that will show you some of the most perhaps gravitational things that have been recorded. But again, it's an opinion show. It's not a fact
Hmm.
show.
Sure.
It's simply to help others. So what is the most popular video on the channel now might not be at all of interest to you, or it could be very interesting to you. I've recorded with two other Italian people. One still is in Italy now. We've lost touch a little. She knows of me. We know of each other. And then I've recorded with another Italian man. I think I might even want to send you specifically the other. Maybe you would have interesting comments to make about the other Italians who I've spoken with over the years, but I don't know. But who knows? It's up to you. I can't predict what you wouldn't like and what you will. So it's very hard for me to judge. I can tell you what the most popular video on the channel is,
Thank you. I'll take a
but
look. Yes, of course.
that doesn't necessarily mean that that's where you should start or that's where you should end. It's simply a matter of algorithmic performance over the years. If
Thank you
someone
very
wants to get in
much.
touch, Emmy, you are forever welcome here. If someone wants to get in touch with you and they want to learn about you, your podcast, how can you be reached?
Okay. There is the link to the channel that you probably put
Mm-hmm.
after this episode, and then there is an email that they can where they can reach me with comments, suggestions, ideas. Please take a look to my channel first, just to have an idea of what I'm doing, and then you can give me ideas, just suggestions, comments, and whatever you wish. I mean, you can tell. In general, I will answer. So the email address is very simple. It's very easy. It's inventorstories uh, at gmail.com. So it's very, very easy. I repeat it. Inventor stories with just one S, inventor stories at gmail.com.
Let's just include that in the description. So
Oh, okay.
be absolutely beautiful and perfect. Could not have asked for better. All right. So then I
Then
want to say
thank you
thank you.
for the time you dedicated to me, for your
You're
patience,
for
and
thank.
for this
I just want to
opportunity.
say too. that I really have a lot of respect for guests who are flexible with me. We had to reschedule. We had to work with each other. It was very hard. We had to get our schedules all lined up perfectly. So, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your life in Italy to spend some time with us today. It really is a big deal, and it meant everything to my audience. And we hope
And
that
me
this
too.
will,
I really appreciated your
well,
time and your
that's
patience.
all. Well, that's why we do this, because see, that's the why, because you appreciated it. That's that's the why. Thank you so much. As we like to say in French, merci beaucoup. Uh,
Merci, merci.
avec plaisir. As you like to say, I think as you like to say over there in Italy, grazie, right?
Sì,
Yeah.
grazie a
And
te. Arrivederci.
there you go. Okay. So do you know how we end an episode here of Aaron's Opinion? Do you know what our slogan is? What we say?
Yeah, you said to me a couple of times, but and I heard probably, but I don't know. I can't remember right now. Sorry.
That's no problem. So we say, Emmy, thank you so much. We'll connect on WhatsApp a little later today. I do have to go to work. So thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your wonderful day over there in Italy. Take care, everybody. Keep podcasting. Be well. This is Aaron's Opinion Podcast. I'm Aaron Richmond. We'll be back soon with the next episode. Until then, help one person today, help 1 million people tomorrow.
Tomorrow.